This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last session, we have discussed about the future methods, how to implement the future methods in Salesforce, and at what scenarios we can go with the future methods, and what are the various rules has to be get followed upon preparing the future methods, and what are the limitations are available in future methods we have discussed. Now, so upon implementing the future methods, we have identified few limitations, few drawbacks we have identified as part of future methods. As part of future methods, we have identified some drawbacks. The first drawback is when coming to the future method doesn't support a subject type of parameters. So whenever if you're passing any parameters to the future method, the parameter should be always either primitive type or arrays of primitive or collection of primitive. But we can't supply any subject type of parameters to the future methods. We can't supply arrays of a subject. We can't supply collection of a subject type. It won't support. It won't support those a subject type of parameters as a parameter to the future method. The first drawback is future method doesn't support a subject type of parameters. Is the first drawback. Suppose if you want to pass any subject type of elements, then what we need to do? We have to pass the record ID. Okay, we have to pass the record ID, and then based on that record ID, we can able to fetch the records by making one additional SQL query inside that method. So inside the method, we need to write one additional SQL query in order to fetch those records information. Or else, the second mechanism is we have to go with some additional coding to do the serialization process and deserialization process. We have to serialize that Apex information, nothing but whatever the subject type of record you would like to supply, those records we have to serialize into your string type, and then once the values has been supplied to the future method, then we have to convert them back from the string to that Apex type by using this deserialization methods. So that whenever if you want to pass a subject type of parameters, we have to use serialization process and deserialization process. Now, so these are the additional things that we need to do as part of this future method if you want to pass any subject type of parameters. Now, this is the first drawback. And the second drawback is when coming to the future methods, so future method doesn't support the chaining process. Future methods doesn't support the chaining process. Future method doesn't support the chaining process. Chaining process means what? Okay, one future method can invoke another. Okay, one future method can invoke another. So in this case, how can we achieve this one? So now when coming to the future method that already we have discussed, one future method cannot invoke the another future method. One future method can't invoke the another future. Is the second limitation, the second drawback of future methods. So we can't invoke one future method from another future. Next, the third one, future method doesn't provide any tracking mechanisms. Doesn't provide the tracking mechanism. tracking mechanism through programming. Through programming, we don't have any tracking mechanism. That means what? Whenever we are executing the future method, then I want to track the result of that future. Whether my future method has been executed successfully or not. What is the status of my future method? I want to track. But whenever if you want to track the result of that future method, then we need that ID, job ID. But future method is not returning any job ID to us, so that we don't have any tracking mechanism through programming, because we don't know the idea of that job, so that here we can't track it through programming. If you want to know whether your future method has been executed successfully or not, then we have to go to the monitor menu. From there, we have to go to the jobs, and from there, we have to go to the Apex job. There only we can able to track manually by using the user interface. But through programmatically, we can't track any result. These are the three major drawbacks are available when coming to the future methods. To avoid these three drawbacks, okay, to avoid these three drawbacks, Salesforce has introduced one more feature called as Queuable interface. Queuable interface. So Queuable is an interface. Okay, Queuable is an interface. It's available inside that system namespace. System.queuable. System.queuable. System.queuable is an interface which will be having the facilities to overcome all these drawbacks of future methods. So, as part of this future methods, what are the drawbacks are available, all these drawbacks you can overcome with the help of this queuable interface. Now, in this case, queuable interface and future methods both are having some similarities. Okay, both are having some similarities and both are having some differences. Then what are those similarities? Future method is executing where? By placing inside the Apex queue. Nothing but outside of the organization, it is executing by placing inside the queue. Like the similar way, queuable interface also, that means your queuable class also executing by placing inside the Salesforce queue. Now, when coming to the future methods, future method is going to be executing inside the Apex queue. Like the similar way, your queuable interface class also going to be running inside that Apex queue. Both are similar. That means there are some similarities are available to them. Now, so in this case, future method is going to be executing based on the availability of Salesforce resources. That means immediately that is not executing. Whenever Salesforce resources becomes available, then only the future method will be getting executed. Like the similar way, queuable interface class also executing whenever Salesforce resources becomes available. But Salesforce is giving more preference to the queuable interface when compared with the future methods. When compared with the future methods, Salesforce is giving more preference to that queuable interface classes. That means queuable classes will be executing first when compared with the future methods. That is one of the high priority given by the Salesforce for this future, for the queuable interface classes. Now, so in this case, by using this queuable interface, you can able to avoid all these drawbacks. Now, there are these two are having some similarities. Like future methods are executing by placing inside the Apex queue, and the queuable interface classes are also executing by placing inside the Apex queue. And the second similarity, future methods are going to be executing based on the availability of the Salesforce resources, and then queuable interface classes also executing based on the availability of Salesforce resources. These are the two similarities that are available between queuable class and then future methods. Now, the differences, when coming to the differences. So when coming to the future method does not support a subject type of parameters. We can't supply a subject type of parameters to the future methods, but the queuable class will support. Queuable class will be supporting to pass a subject type of parameters also. That facility is available. Okay, this is the first difference. So future method does not support the subject type of parameters, but the queuable class will be supporting this subject type of parameters. Next, future method doesn't support the chaining process. That means one future method cannot be invocable from another future method, but one queuable class can be invocable from another queuable class. That means queuable interface classes will be supporting the chaining process. It supports the chaining process over here, where one queuable class can be invocable from another queuable class and so on. That facility is available. Next, the third one. The future method doesn't support the tracking mechanism through programming. That means future method is not returning any ID to you to track the result of that future method through programming. But the queuable class will be supporting this tracking mechanism. Queuable class will support the tracking mechanism. That means whenever you are pushing a queuable class into the queue, it will return the ID of that job, so that by using this ID we can able to track the result with the help of by making a query to that async affix job object. By making a query to the async affix job object, we can able to query that information also. That facility is available over here. Now, so now here in this case, yeah, as part of this queuable interface, it is going to be supporting all these facilities. Whatever the features are not possible, okay, with the future method, those will be okay possible with the help of queuable. Like as queuable classes will be supporting to pass a subject type of parameters, and then it will be supporting the chaining process also. That means one queuable class can be invocable from another queuable class. And then when coming to the queuable class, it is providing the tracking mechanism also, so that we can able to track the result of this queuable class okay, through programming itself. That facility is available. Now, so now here in this case, how can we implement this functionality? How can we prepare this queuable classes okay, by using this interface system.queuable? So what is that implementation steps? Now let's see practically in this case. Whenever if you want to implement a queuable class, first of all, prepare a global class. You can prepare a global class. So prepare a global class, okay, which should be implemented by the interface called as system.queuable. The system.queuable interface. Now, so now in this case, first of all, we have to prepare a class which is a global class which should be implemented by an interface called as system.queuable interface. Then how can we implement that? Now let me give the implementation steps. Now, as a step one, we need to create a global class which should be implemented by the system.queuable interface, which should be implemented by the system.queuable interface. The syntax I'm indicating that global class name implements system.queuable. Here we have to write the business logic. First of all, as a step one, we have to prepare. Okay, we have to prepare a class which should be implemented by an interface called as system.queuable interface. Now, so in this case, whenever we are implementing an interface, whenever we are using an interface inside the class, then the fundamental principle is in this interface, whatever the methods are available for every method, we have to provide the implementation part. System.queuable is a standard interface which has been given by Salesforce, which is having some ready-made methods inbuilt, Then what are those methods available inside that queuable interface? In this queuable interface, there is a standard method is available, that is execute. Execute is a standard method available inside this queuable interface, so that we have to provide the implementation for that interface. So whenever you are implementing any interface, okay, inside your class, then that means here I am going to be indicating to the Salesforce, I'm indicating to the compiler that this is the interface that is given by the Salesforce, which is having some ready-made methods. For those methods, I am taking the responsibility of providing the implementation part. That means there are some methods are available which are not having any business logic inside this. I am taking care of the responsibility of providing the business logic for those methods. So in this case, when coming to the Queuable interface, we are going to be providing the implementation for that. So what methods are available? So now as part of the Queuable interface, we have a method called as execute method. So now for that execute method, we have to provide the implementation. Like previously, when you go to the batchable interface, we have three methods are available over there: start method, execute method, finish method. For those three methods, we have provided the implementation. But as part of this Queuable interface, we are having only one method, that is execute method. For that method, we have to provide the implementation over there. Now, so now we have to provide the implementation for the interface. So now we have the method is available, that is we have only one method, that is execute method is available. How to provide that implementation? Let me show you the syntax. So let me show you the syntax of this interface. So this is the class that we have. Inside this class, we have to prepare that implementation for this. So now we have to specify global void execute. Global void execute. And then in this method, it is having one parameter called as system dot queuable context. Queuable context. It is having the parameter called as system dot queuable context. So we have to provide that implementation for this method. That means what? When coming to the Queuable interface, we have a method called as execute method. So which is a global method, which is not returning any value to the calling environment, so that it is having the return type as void, and then which is having a parameter called as system dot queuable context. And then we have to write the business logic inside this execute method. Inside this execute method, write the business logic whatever you want. Next, as a step 3. So once you have provided the implementation for this Queuable interface class methods, once you provided the implementation for these Queuable methods, then what we can do? We need to execute this Queuable class. How can we execute? By placing this Queuable class inside the queue. That means inside the Apex queue. Then how can we push? How can we push this class into that Queuable class? So the Apex queue. How can we push this class into the Apex queue? So for that one here, we are going to be using a separate method. So we are using a separate method. Through that method, we can able to push this particular class into the Apex queue. From there, it will be executing that, and we can able to track the result also. Now in this case, push the Queuable class into the Apex queue and track the result of the Queuable class by using a sync Apex job object. Now, all the back job results, all the future methods results, all the Queuable class results, all the scheduling job results, everything will be storing inside that async Apex job object only. So whatever the batch jobs you have executed, and then whatever the future methods you have executed, whatever the Queuable interface classes you have executed, whatever the scheduling classes that you have executed, all these jobs results will be placing inside only one object, that is called as async Apex job object. Now, so now here in this case, then how can we push this particular class into that Apex queue? For that one, we are going to be using a separate method that is called as system.enqueueJob. So now whenever if you want to push this queuable class into that Apex queue, that means I want to push this into the queue. For that one here, Salesforce is providing a method called as system.enqueueJob. 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 So now here by using this system.enqueueJob, we can able to push this particular class into the Apex queue. So in this case, this is the method. So system is a standard class which has been given a ready-made method called as enqueueJob. So now here we have to pass that queuable class name. New the queuable class name. You can specify the queuable class name, and then it is going to pushing this particular class into the queue, into the Apex queue. Enqueue is nothing but place inside the queue, nothing but push into the queue. So what you want to push into the queue, this is the class which I have prepared over here. So whatever the queuable class that you have prepared, specify the queuable class name, and then this is the class which I have prepared. So please push this particular class into the queue. That means Apex queue. Once it is pushing into the Apex queue, the Apex queue will be allocating one ID that is called as job ID. That job ID will be getting written to you over here. It is going to be returning the job ID to you. So now as soon as whenever I'm going to pushing this particular queuable class into the Apex queue, then it is returning the job ID. So that here we can able to collect the job ID and we can able to track the result of this job ID, okay, by using this async Apex job object. So now here in this case, so we can able to track the result also information. Now track the result. How can we track? By making a query to that async Apex job object. Async Apex job details equals to, we can fetch. We can write that SO Queuable query. SO Queuable query from async Apex job where ID equals to job ID. What are the job ID that we received? That job ID we can able to collect based on that we can able to put. I'm not writing this complete SO Queuable query, just I'm writing that syntax over here. You know how to fetch that information by making a query to that async Apex job object. So we have to write that SO Queuable query, okay, to get the data from async Apex job object based on that ID. Whatever the ID has been written by this enqueue job method, we can collect the ID of the job, then we can able to get the status details of this job by making a query to that async Apex job. These are the 3 steps we have to follow whenever we are going to be implementing the Queuable interface classes. So the Queuable interface class will be supporting that all the drawbacks of the future methods. So what are the 3 drawbacks are available in the future methods? Those we can able to overcome. That means here which are not possible through future methods, those are possible through Queuable interface. So for that reason, we are using that interface called as system.queuable interface. System.queuable interface. By using the system.queuable interface, we can able to prepare a global class and in which we can able to write the business logic, which we can able to execute it by pushing into that Apex queue. By pushing into that Apex queue, we can able to make it executable, and then we can able to track the results also. And then, so then how can we implement this functionalities? We'll see practically with a practical example. So in that practical example, I would like to show you, okay, I would like to show you how can we pass a subject type of parameters. And then in the same example, I would like to show you, okay, how it is supporting the chaining process. And then how to track that, okay, we'll see. All these 3 drawbacks I would like to show you, okay. All these 3 drawbacks I would like to show you with the practical implementation. That means I would like to overcome these 3 drawbacks. So how to achieve these functionalities, okay, I would like to show you practically with a single example itself. Now, let's see how can we implement this functionality right now.
Firoz,
Yes.
as you said today at the starting of the class, the future jobs can be what I mean to say. The queuable interface will be executing first. If there is any future job, also it will be pushing back.
Yes.
So if any of the queuable job, suppose I have scheduled suppose one of my queuable job is ready, and if any of the users queuable job is ready, in this case also, if is the FIFO is going to work, or whichever comes first, that will be executing.
Now, because here it will be FIFO complete with the first in
Okay.
first come.
Okay, fine.
Now, so in this case, how can we implement this Queuable interface? Okay, now let's see practically. For example, let me explain the scenario. For example, I would like to create the two records in two different objects. For example, I'm having the hiring manager object. In this hiring manager object, I want to create a new record. And in the position object also, I want to create one more new record. Okay, I would like to create the position record also inside this. So I want to create two records. So to create this hiring manager record, I want to use a separate queuable class. And to create the position records, I would like to create a separate queuable class. Now, so now to create the hiring manager record, I want to create a separate queuable class. And then to prepare the position record, I would like to create a separate queuable class. But in this case, what I want to do, I want to create two separate queuable classes. And then at that time, so now once the hiring manager queuable has been executed, whatever the hiring manager record has been created successfully, then immediately, I would like to pass this hiring manager record into my second queuable class. That means to the position queuable class. Okay, position queuable class. That means what? Two separate queuable classes are available. Hiring manager queuable and then position queuable. Two classes are available. So now I want to create the hiring manager record through this hiring manager queuable class, and I want to create the position record by using position queuable class. Now, so now these are the two separate queuable classes are available over here. But now what I want to do, once the hiring manager records queuable has been created successfully, that means once the hiring manager queuable class has been executed successfully, whatever the hiring manager record has been created, this complete hiring manager record I would like to pass to the position queuable. That means apply this one, observe this one. Chaining process, I'm doing that. Chaining process. That means once the hiring manager queuable class has been executed, immediately I would like to invoke the position queuable class also. I want to invoke position queuable class also. That means here I'm invoking one queuable class from another one. In this case, what I'm doing, not only simply invoking the position queuable, whatever the position record it is going to create, the position record should not be an independent, it should be associated to my hiring manager record. So whatever the hiring manager record that I have created, complete hiring manager record, that means a subject record I would like to pass to my position queuable. That means I'm achieving the training process, I'm passing the subject type of parameters also. Now, so now here in this case, so I would like to invoke that position queuable class, okay, from the hiring manager queuable. From the hiring manager queuable, I want to invoke that position queuable class also. And upon invoking this position queuable, I want to pass the complete hiring manager record. I'm not only passing the ID of the hiring manager, I want to pass the complete hiring manager record also. So based on that hiring manager record, it will create a related position record inside this. Now, so once it is created, then I would like to track that mechanism also. That means here, whether this particular queuable classes have been executed successfully or not. If it is executed, then what is that status? And then how many batches are available? What is the ID? Everything I would like to track. Now, then how can we implement that? Now let me show you practically in this case. Now, so now let me take a small example. I would like to create a queuable class in order to implement, to write the code to create a hiring manager record. In order to create the hiring manager record, I would like to create a separate queuable class. Now, let me go to that practical part. I'm creating an Apex class. Hiring manager Queuable. Hiring manager Queuable. This is the class which I would like to prepare right now. Now, I'm making this class as a global class. And then this class should be implemented by the interface system.queuable. So that implements system.queuable. I'm having an interface called as system.queuable interface. System.queuable interface. Now, so whenever we are implementing this system.queuable interface inside your class, okay, when you try to save this class code, it won't allow. Because inside this Queuable interface class interface, there is a method is available for which we did not provide the implementation. See, immediately it is giving this exclamation symbol, nothing but there is a problem. What is the problem? It is indicating that. So now, now it is indicating that message class hiring manager Queuable must implement the method. Compulsorily, it has to provide the implementation for the method. What is that method? System.queuable.execute. Okay, execute method is available, which is having one parameter called a system.queuable context. So whenever you are implementing any interface inside your class, then compulsorily we have to provide the implementation for that interface and methods inside your class. It's a fundamental principle of object-oriented programming. It's a fundamental principle of object-oriented programming. It may be any object-oriented programming. Okay, we have to follow. Like as Java, .NET, in Apex also, you have to follow the same. But in C++, we don't have this concept of interfaces because C++ will be supporting that multiple inheritance. But Java onwards, Java, .NET, and Apex will not support multiple inheritance feature. So that they introduce the concept of interfaces. Now, so now here in this case, now we need to provide the implementation for this interface. So we have to specify global wide execute, which is having a parameter called as system.queuable context. Queuable context. So now here inside this particular interface, we have to provide inside this method, we have to provide the implementation part. So in this method, we have to write the code in order to create the hiring manager record. Write the business logic to insert the hiring manager record. In order to insert the hiring manager record, whatever the business logic is required, the business logic I would like to write inside this particular method. So now, so write the business logic inside this. You know how to insert the hiring manager record. Hiring manager HR record equals to new hiring. I'm creating the hiring manager record inside this particular method. Through with the help of this hiring manager Queuable class, I would like to create the hiring manager record. So I'm writing the business logic. HR record dot name. I'm indicating the HR person name as some Praveen Kumar. Praveen Kumar. HR record dot location. I'm indicating the value like some Chennai. HR record dot contact number. I'm passing the value. HR record dot email ID. Praveen@some gmail.com. I'm inserting this hiring manager. Insert HR record. I would like to print the message. If HR record dot ID not equal to null, then I want to show some message. System dot debug hiring manager record ID is. I want to show that HR dot ID. This is the piece of code. In order to insert the hiring manager record, I have written some piece of code. HR record.id. So now this is the piece of code which is used to insert that hiring manager record. Now, so now whenever I'm going to be pushing this particular Queuable class into that Apex queue, then it is going to be executing this execute method, and then which will be executing this business logic, which will create a new hiring manager record inside my object. So we can get a new hiring manager record. So, but now what I want to do, not only creating this hiring manager record, I want to create the position record also, related position record also I want to, because I want to implement the chaining mechanism. I want to implement the chaining process over here. So now I would like to invoke that one more Queuable interface class. That means what? I want to prepare another Queuable class which is used to insert the position record, and then at that time, so upon creating the position record, I would like to pass this hiring manager record details also. Now let's see how can we do that. I'm creating another class, separate class. I'm creating a separate class with the name positions Queuable. I'm creating a separate class with the name positions Queuable. So now here I'm preparing the class by making it as global, which should be implements by the system.queuable, which should be implemented by the interface system.queuable interface. Here also the same process. We have to prepare the implementation for the method, like as global void execute, which is having the parameter system.queuable context, which is having the parameter system.queuable context. Now, inside this one, we have to write that piece of code. Inside this, we have to write that piece of code. I'm writing this piece of code over here. Now, in order to create the position record, what are the details are required, I would like to write this code. Write the code to create a related position record. In order to create a related position record, we are going to be using this Queuable class. Now, so now here I'm preparing this business logic over here. Position underscore C from POS equals to new position. I'm creating the object of this position class. Now I would like to pass the values for each and every field of the position record, because the position name and all these things I would like to supply. Along with that, I need to pass some details of that hiring manager also, because this position record I don't want to make it independent. This position record should be related to the hiring manager record. Whatever the hiring manager record that I have created by using this hiring manager Queuable, that hiring manager record I want to pass this position record here, so that hiring manager details I want to place. Whatever the hiring manager ID is available, I want to place inside this field. Whatever the hiring manager location is there, I want to pass in the position location also. And the hiring manager contact number I want to pass inside this. And the hiring manager email ID I would like to pass inside this. So not only simply ID, I want the complete hiring manager record details. Like as I want the ID of the hiring manager and the location of the hiring manager person, contact number of the hiring manager, and the email ID of the hiring manager. So I want to pass the complete hiring manager record over. Then how can we pass? Now let's see. In this case, I am going to preparing a constructor. I am preparing a constructor over here. Public constructor. I'm preparing a default constructor over here. In this constructor, okay, here the constructor which I have prepared right now. Now this constructor will be receiving one hiring manager record. Hiring manager, HR record. Okay. Now this is the constructor which I have prepared. So whenever we are going to preparing the constructor name and the class name should be exactly same. Constructor name and the class name should be exactly same. Now, in this case, when coming to the constructor name and the class name should be exactly same. So whatever the name is available for the class, with the same name I have prepared the constructor. And then when coming to the constructor should be always defined with the public. The constructor should be always defined with the public access. And then, so generally you can raise a question. Sir, here we are writing access specifier and the return type, and then we are writing the method name, whatever. But here we haven't written anything because constructor does not return any value, even return type also. Constructor does not support any return type over here. Even void also we can't specify here. This is a principle. Now, let me give the principles over. Now, the first one. Constructor name should be always the same as the class. Always same as the class. This is the first principle. Second, constructors are used to assign the default values for the class members. Whenever if you want to assign some default values for the class members, then we are using the help of constructors. Now, constructor should be always defined with the public access specifier. Is the third principle. The fourth principle is when coming to the constructor. Constructor does not have any return type, even void. It doesn't support any return type, even void. Constructor can have one or more parameters. Constructors can have one or more parameters also. One or more parameters also we can able to supply for the constructors. That possibility is available to you over here. So in this case, these are few principles we have to follow. Okay, whenever we are implementing the constructors. Now, I'm preparing a constructor, so the constructor name and the class name exactly same. And here I'm going to pass in this hiring manager. That means what? Whatever the HR record that I have created, whatever the HR record I have created by using hiring manager Queuable class, this hiring manager Queuable record, nothing but this HR record I would like to pass to this particular constructor. I would like to pass to this constructor. Now, whenever I'm going to be passing to this constructor, constructor will receive this hiring manager record. Okay, hiring manager record, complete HR record. I'm not passing the single values, complete HR record I'm passing over here. Now it will be receiving this HR record here. Now this HR record where I want to use this HR record information inside this method because I want to make this HR record to be related to the position over here. For that one, I want to use this HR record inside my method execute method. But whenever we are defining any parameter inside this particular constructor, that means in that braces, this will be accessible within this block only. Within this block only we can able to accessible. But I want to accessible in the another method over here. Then how can we do that? For that one, what I'm going to do is I'm preparing one hiring manager record over. Hiring manager HR record. I'm defining one variable hiring manager HR record. In this hiring manager record, I'm going to indicate. In this HR record equals to. Now, let's see what we did in this case. And now let me explain. So now here in this case, what I did. Now, So now here I have prepared one variable HR record. This is a class. Inside the class I have defined. So this variable can be accessible within the entire class variable you want. So now here for my constructor, I'm getting one HR record, but this record I want to access in the second method. But whenever I'm going to be defining any parameter inside that method or constructor inside this braces, this can be accessible within this block only, not from outside of the block. The scope of this particular member will be within this block only. Within the block only we can access. Within that method only we can access. Outside of this method we can't access that. Now in this case what we did, so now we have collected the value we have assigned to my global class level variable. So this member we can able to use inside my entire class variable I want. Now, so now here in this case, let's see how can we do this one. So now here I'm collecting this HR record right now. So upon creating the position record, I would like to assign this one. Now let me pass this one. Position dot name. I'm indicating the position name like as Salesforce Marketing Cloud Consultant. Salesforce Marketing Cloud Consultant. And the position dot location. I want to pass the hiring manager location. HR record dot location. That means I'm passing that. For inside the position, I'm passing the location value. That location value I'm collecting from where? From the HR record. From this HR record, I'm collecting the location value. Position dot position status. I'm indicating the position status as new position. And position dot number of vacancies. That means number of positions. I'm indicating like as some 2. And the position dot open date. I'm indicating system dot position dot milestone date. I'm indicating system dot today dot and days of some 30. I'm giving the 30 days time to the HR person to recruit the candidates. And the position dot contact number. That means HR contact number. I'm passing that HR person's contact number. HR record that contact number. Position dot HR email ID. I'm passing that HR person's email ID. I'm passing that minimum pay. That means minimum budget. I'm giving the value some 14 lakhs. Position dot maximum budget some 18 lakhs. Position dot passport required. Yes, I'm indicating the value. Position dot travel required. Yes, there is a travel option. And the position dot position description. Now, required 2+ years of experience in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. In Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Next. Position dot skills required. Required 2+ years of experience on email studio, journey builder, content builder, and then mobile studio. These are the experiences that were expected. And I want to make this position to be associated to that HR person. Now, make the position to be related to HR. But that one I'm passing. Position dot hiring manager __. I'm passing that HR record dot ID. Then insert the position. Insert position. Now I want to verify. If position dot ID not equals to null, that means that the position record has been created successfully. Then I want to show the confirmation position record. Inserted with ID. I want to show the position. Position dot ID. So this is the way. So now here we have created the position queuable class, so which will be receiving the data. Here is the position queuable class, which has been implementing the interface called as system.queuable interface. And here I'm preparing one constructor over here. Now this constructor is going to be receiving the complete HR record. That means what? Now I'm passing this complete HR record to this particular position queuable. How to pass, I will tell you here. How to pass, I will tell you. Now, it will receive the hiring manager record. Based on this hiring manager record, it is going to be creating the related position record inside my position object. But now, as of now, these two are independent. Then how can we make that relation? Okay, how can we make the relation? That means here, now the classes are independent classes. Then what I need to do, once the hiring manager queuable class has been invoked, once the hiring manager record has been executed successfully, once the record has been created successfully, then immediately I would like to call the position queuable class. Then how can we implement that? How can we invoke the position queuable class? Now let's invoke the position queuable class. Invoke the position queuable class to create the related position. To create the related position record. I want to create the related position record. For that one, I am going to be invoking this position queuable class over. Then how can we invoke this one? That means I want to make it as a chaining. That means what? Once the hiring manager queuable has been executed successfully, immediately it has to invoke that position queuable. How can we invoke this one? That already told you here. Whenever if you want to invoke that any of this queuable class, then we have to use that system.enqueue job. System.enqueue job method. Now let's see. In this case, here we can able to invoke that positions queuable. Then how can we invoke? Now let's see. Now I'm indicating system.enqueue job. There is a method called system.enqueue job, so which is going to be accepting the queuable interface class, which will be returning the ID of the job over. Now, so what is my queuable class name over here? We can specify new. Which queuable class you would like to invoke? Position queuable class over here. Now specify the position queuable class, and then. But this is what the constructor, this last parameter is constructor. Here what we need to supply, whenever we are going to be invoking this particular class, at that time I want to pass the hiring manager record over here. So here we can pass that HR. To this constructor, I am invoking the HR record, right? So it is written in that ID, position, job ID, position, job ID. So now I'm indicating that I'm invoking this position queuable class, and then upon invoking the position queuable, I'm passing the HR record. HR record means what? This is what? Hiring manager, nothing but a subject type, completely a subject type I'm passing. Nothing but two functionalities I have achieved over here. One is what? So now here we have supplied the subject type of parameters. Second one, chaining process I have implemented over here. That means I'm invoking position queuable interface class. Now from the hiring manager position queuable, from the hiring manager queuable, I'm invoking positions queuable. And upon invoking, this is nothing but chaining mechanism. Second one, upon invoking that, I'm not simply invoking the positions queuable, I'm passing the HR record. HR record means it's a hiring manager record. That means a subject type of parameters also I'm supplying from one queuable class to another queuable class. Two functionalities I have achieved. And then I will be getting the job ID also. Based on this job ID, we can able to track the result also. We can track the result also. The possibilities available. Now, so this is the way we can able to implement this functionality as part of this queuable interface. So we can able to prepare your own queuable classes by implementing the interface system that queuable, and then we can able to write the business logic inside the execute method, and from there we can able to invoke that other queuable classes also. Chaining process also possible. We can pass a subject type of parameters also. That is also possible inside this. Like the similar way, you can create one more queuable class also, like as candidates queuable class. So that once the position is created successfully, then from here we can invoke that candidates queuable. Like that, we can able to have the chaining process over here. This is how we are going to be implementing this functionality. Now, let me execute this hiring manager queuable. How can we invoke? Whenever we are invoking the hiring manager queuable, automatically, once the hiring manager queuable has been invoked, immediately it will be invoking that position queuable also automatically, nothing but chaining process. Now, let me invoke this. How can we invoke this one? Now, let's see. Let's go to the execute anonymous window. Now, I'm going to be invoking that hiring manager queuable over here. How can we invoke now? Let's see. Now, I would like to invoke system.enqueue job. You can specify new hiring manager queuable. I'm invoking this, which will be returning the ID, HR job ID, which will be returning the ID over there. If it is a future method, it won't return any ID, but this enqueue job method is going to be returning the ID. That what it will do, this enqueue job method is going to be pushing this particular hiring manager queuable class into the queue. From there, it will be executing. Now, from there, we can able to track the result. How can we track the result? Now, let's see. You know how to track the result. Same concept. Async affects job. Job details equals to, you can fetch. Select ID of the job, status of the job, total job items, and the job items processed, number of errors created by that email from async affects job, where ID equals to HR job ID. HR job ID. From there, we can able to display this information also. What the information you want to print, we can able to print that. Like our system.debug job ID is, we can print that. Job details start ID. System.debug job status is job details status. Like that, we can able to print this information also. That facility is available. So now here in this case, what I'm invoking that hiring manager queuable class. Whenever I'm invoking the hiring manager queuable class, immediately it will be invoking the position queuable class also automatically, and by passing the hiring manager record. So that it will create that related records inside my position. So now, along with that, we can able to track the results also. Okay, what exactly the status? We can able to track the result status by using this tracking mechanism also. All these three possibilities are available as part of queuable interface class. Now let me invoke.
Can we get list of HR job IDs if we are?
Sorry. Because this is the only
Can we get
one
list
job.
of HR job IDs? If hiring manager, no, in case if we are inserting multiple HR records.
Then we can able to get
hiring manager queue.
Yeah, inside this one we can able to get it here. Inside that HR records, whenever if we are inserting multiple, we can able to get those record IDs. We can pass those multiple record IDs to your another queuable class also. Okay. Here we will be getting the job ID, not the
in that case, it will
IDs.
be list.
That will be list collection. At that time, that will be list collection. We have to pass list of HR job records. So now let me invoke this hiring manager Queuable class. Whenever I'm invoking this hiring manager Queuable, which will be invoking the hiring manager Queuable internally, once it has been getting executed successfully, immediately it will be invoking the positions Queuable also. Now, so when coming to the position Queuable, we can able to see that related position record also inside this. Now, let me execute this feature. Now we have invoked that the Queuable class. Now it will be creating the hiring manager record along with the related position records information also inside. So it will be giving the position record inserted with this ID also. Now let's see. Go to your hiring manager records. We can see with that hiring manager record. What is the HR record that was specified? Praveen Kumar. Starting with the P. Now the Praveen Kumar record has been created successfully. Okay, whose location will be like a Chennai location we have specified. This is the Praveen Kumar record which has been created successfully. Location is Chennai and the contact number and the email ID. So this is executed. After that, it is executing that position Queuable also immediately, which is creating that related position record also inside this, which has created a new position record with the name Salesforce Marketing Cloud Consultant. So this is the position record which has created, which will be associated to that hiring manager, the Praveen Kumar. So here we can see that what are the details we have specified, all the details. Name of that position, location value, and then status, and the passport required, travel required, number of vacancies are available, and then budget details and the milestone details, contact details, position description details, everything. All this information we can able to see inside this. So two records have been created, hiring manager, second one is a position, but those two are not created within a single transaction. Both are executing by using the two different transactions, by maintaining the two different jobs over here. So that even though those are separated, but we have made the association between those records also with the help of this Queuable interface. So by using this system.queuable interface, we can able to maintain the chaining process also, and we can pass the subject type of parameters also. We can track the results also. That facility is available to you inside this. This is the way we are using this Queuable interface class methods inside your asynchronous operations. That means instead of executing in our local organization, we can place them inside the queue and from there we can execute. Now, if you want to track that one through user interface, then you can track. Let's go to that setup menu. Go to the jobs. Go to the Apex jobs. Inside this Apex jobs, we can able to see that. Now we are having the two Queuable classes have been executed successfully over here. Now status is completed. The first Queuable is position Queuable, and then which has been created over here, and then hiring manager Queuable also, which has been created over here. So both the Queuable classes has been executed successfully inside this. So we can able to see those results also. So both the records have been created, and then both are implemented successfully inside this. This is how we can able to implement the Queuable interfaces inside your Apex program. Now, sometimes they will raise a question in the entry point of view as well, like I'm having two batch classes are available. Like the similar way, like as this Queuable whatever we did, like the similar way I'm having two batch classes are available. Batch job 1, batch job 2. Once the batch job 1 has been executed successfully, immediately I want to invoke the second batch job. What we can do is, So let me place this code first. So that by using this Queuable interfaces, we can able to achieve the features which are not possible through the future method. What are the drawbacks are available in the future method? All those drawbacks we can overcome with the help of Queuable interface classes. Now, so when coming to that batch jobs, let's go back to that batch jobs concept over there. For example, I have the two batch jobs are available. I'm having two batch jobs are available. There is a first batch job. I'm having a first batch job. Like for example, global class batch job 1 implements database start batchable. Yes, after. Here I'm having the start method, which is having some business logic. I'm having the execute method, which is having some business logic. I'm having the finish, which is having the business logic. So this is my first batch of job is available. This is my first batch of job is available. This is my batch class. Like the similar way, I'm having one more batch job is also there. Like the similar way, I'm having one more batch job is there. Here's my first batch job. Now, like the similar way, I'm having that one more batch job is also available with me here, right? The second batch job is available right now. This is the second batch job. Batch job 2, which is having some business logic inside this. Now, I'm having the second batch job also. Now my requirement is, as soon as once the first batch job has been finished successfully, immediately I would like to invoke the second batch. How can we do this? It's a common question in every interview. I'm invoking the batch job 1. Once the batch job 1 has been executed successfully, immediately I want to invoke the second batch job. Then what we can do? How can we do? How can we maintain the chaining process between the batch jobs? It's a common question in every interview. In this case, what needs to be done? As soon as once the first batch job has been initiated, it will be executing that execute method, start methods also, and then once all the batches has been getting processed, finally it is going to be invoking that finish method. At the last, it is invoking the finish method. In that finish method, we are writing the code which is related to send to that email notifications or post execution logics and all these things. Here, after executing the post execution logic inside the finish method, we have to write that code in order to invoke that second batch job. That means what? In the finish method, we can write the code to invoke the second batch job also. That means if there is any next batch job, if you want to invoke like as part of chaining process, we can able to invoke that next batch job also by using this, the finish method. Suppose that here the batch job 2. How can we invoke this one? We are going to be invoking by writing this code here. You know how to invoke the second batch job? We are going to be writing these 2 lines of code, like as batch job 2, like as some job 2 equals to new batch job 2, and then invoke that batch job. How can we execute? Database start execute the batch. Database start execute batch of like as job 2 comma some 10. That's it. That means what? It's a common question in every interview. Okay, it's a common question in every interview. Then how can we invoke one batch job from another batch job? So in the first batch job, okay, in the first batch job, after executing all the functionalities through the execute method, in the finish method, we are going to writing the code to invoke the second batch job. So that first batch job will be executing first, and once it is done with all the all the batches, finally it is invoking the finish method. Finish method will invoke the second batch job. So it will be invoking the second batch job, which will be executing over here. Which will be executing over here inside this. So in the finish method of second batch job, we can invoke the third batch job also. In the finish method of third batch job, we can invoke the fourth batch job also. Like that here, we can able to maintain the chaining process also between the batches also. The possibilities are available. Now, in this case, whenever we are going to be using this batch classes, okay, batch classes, in a 24 hours of time frame, we can invoke or we can execute maximum of 2,50,000 batches. 2,50,000 batches we can able to invoke per day. That means in 24 hours time frame, we can invoke maximum of 2,50,000 batches per day. Not batch jobs, 2,50,000 batches per day we can able to invoke here in 24 hours of time frame from an organization. This is the limitation given by Salesforce. Batch size we can specify anything. It may be 1 also, 2 also, 20 also, 2,000 also. I'm not bothered about that. But we can able to execute maximum of 2,50,000 batches, okay, from an organization per day, not more than that. This is the limitation given by the Salesforce. Because in each and every batch job, we are having so many batches are available. Batch 1, some records. Batch 2, some records. Batch 3, some records. Like that, these batches it will count. In an organization, we can have maximum of 2,50,000 batches we can able to execute per day. This is the ground limit which has been given by Salesforce. And then the second limitation is what? As part of batch programming, that you know that. Okay, that you know that. As part of that batch programming, we can able to push maximum of 5 active batch jobs, okay, into the topics queue from an organization. If you want to push more number of jobs, then we use the help of flex queue. That means automatically remaining jobs are going to pushing into that flex queue over here. That is the limitation has been given by Salesforce. Okay, these limitations you have to remember over here. These kind of questions they will be raising in every point of time. Okay, so this is the concept of flex queues inside your, these are the concept of the Queuable interface inside your Salesforce instance. And we have one more last feature is available as part of this asynchronous programming scheduling. We'll see the scheduling concept in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we'll see the scheduling concept, and then we'll go forward to that. The another concept that is called as a triggers. How can we implement the triggers? We'll see practically in tomorrow's session. Trigger theoretical part concept is very important. If you know the theoretical concept of trigger, then only we can able to write the trigger code. Or else we can't write even a single trigger also. That is most difficult process. So that here you should be able to understand the trigger concept first, theoretical part first. So many theoretical features are available before going to the practical of trigger. That is most important. If you understood the theoretical part, then you can understand the programmatical part of trigger concept very easily. So tomorrow we'll see that scheduling programming. It's a small topic here. It's a maximum 20 minutes topic, and then we'll move forward to the concept of triggers. Okay. And then I